The Justice League is finally on the big screen. And let me tell you, it's fun, and it's a mess. It's kind of a fun mess that's full of Easter eggs and references that we're breaking down for you right now. Early on and all throughout the film, you hear Danny Elfman's original Batman theme playing. This is because Elfman's the composer of both films, but also because it harkens back to a simpler time before superheroes snapped the necks of their villains. This one's easy. It's from the trailer, Wonder Woman standing on the Lady of Justice. How appropriate. When Bruce Wayne and Aquaman first meet, the King of the Sea is wearing a sweater that looks kind of like his original orange scaly shirt. Also, I like that Aquaman catches a little bit of hell from Batman about talking to fish, like this famous sketch from The State. At one point, there's a newspaper with a photo of David Bowie, Prince, and Superman on the cover that says, "Have they all gone to their home planet?" This is just a reminder that 2016 was a really rough year for celebrity deaths. And also, Prince recorded songs for the original Batman movie soundtrack,
Purple Rain. Oh, Sign of the Times. Definitely not. The Batman soundtrack.
And a cover of David Bowie's Heroes was used in the final Justice League trailer. The flashback of the fight against Steppenwolf features both the Green Lanterns and the old gods, including Zeus. Zeus is, of course, the father of Wonder Woman. My favorite part of this is that Green Lantern's ring leaves and travels off, perhaps to find a new Green Lantern that we'll see in the next film. When Lois is talking to Martha Kent,
"Why did you say that name?"
over her shoulder you see a flyer for a missing cat. Now, this could be a coincidence, it could reference that Lois Lane is mostly doing fluff pieces now, or it could be a reference to the original Superman movie when Superman finds a little girl's cat in a tree, and now, without Superman around, a lot more cats are going missing. When Batman talks to Commissioner Gordon, you see Ace Chemicals in the background. This is the same company where Joker and Harley Quinn dove into a vat of acid in Suicide Squad. By the way, this is not to be confused with Axis Chemical from Tim Burton's Batman. That's the shady chemical company where Jack Napier fell into a vat of acid to become the Joker. Two completely different organizations that don't put lids on their vats of chemicals. At one point, Steppenwolf name drops Apocalypse and even says that he's doing this for Darkseid. Bruce Wayne says that the Doomsday Clock has a snooze button, which could be a reference to Snyder's earlier film, The Watchmen, which prominently featured a Doomsday Clock counting down to the nuclear apocalypse. The storyline Flashpoint is foreshadowed when we see that Barry Allen is visiting his dad in prison and he was convicted for killing his mother. And Barry also name-checks the Speed Force. When Bruce and Barry meet, in the background you see a clip from the TV show Rick and Morty, specifically the episode Something Wicked This Way Comes. At one point, Steppenwolf says, "I will take my place among the new gods." This is a reference to the Jack Kirby comic book of the same name. Alfred says that he's nostalgic for the days of fighting wind-up penguins. This is a reference to Batman Returns. Also in the flashback of the fight against Steppenwolf, the landscape looks very similar to the landscape in the Nightmare in Batman vs. Superman. Wonder Woman looks at Batman's troop transport and says, "I know a man who would have loved to have flown it," meaning Steve Trevor. There's a couple references to the Stephen King story Pet Sematary. In Pet Sematary, pets and people who are buried in a particular cemetery come back as mindless zombies. Sometimes adorable zombies. Just like Superman does in this film. When Superman is resurrected and becomes Dark Superman, just like in Superman 3, the scariest moment from my childhood, we briefly hear John Williams' original Superman theme playing in the background. Also, Lois Lane is the one who stops Dark Superman from going on a rampage. I think this could be the meaning of the Flash appearing in Batman vs. Superman and saying "save Lois," because essentially, her stopping Superman kept him from becoming Dark Superman and causing the nightmare to happen. When Dark Superman asks Batman, "Do you bleed?" he's making a direct reference to this part of Batman vs. Superman. Superman uses his super breath for the first time in the DCEU, which is awesome. Try to ignore the fact that he could have just frozen Batman in place and explained to him that Lex Luthor was manipulating them and that Martha was in trouble. You know what? Okay, just never mind. This movie's fun, this movie's fun, this movie's fun. Let's move on. Silas Stone works at Star Labs, your one-stop shop for all things science in the DC Comics. At one point in the final battle, Cyborg says "Booyah." This is his trademark phrase from the comic books and the Cartoon Network show Teen Titans. Speaking of Cyborg, at the end of the film, he changes into his new 52 suit, and there's also a neat little tie-in to Batman vs. Superman here. In Batman vs. Superman, we see that the Gotham Knights are being blown out by Metropolis 58-0. This is because their star quarterback, Victor Stone, was recently injured. Also, this isn't mentioned explicitly in the movie, but in the DCEU, Aquaman saved Superman's life after he rescued all the oil workers at the beginning of Man of Steel. At the end of the movie, Bruce Wayne is talking about renovating Wayne Manor. He says that he wants to have a giant table with room for all of them to sit. This is a reference to the Hall of Justice in the TV show Super Friends, and I can already hear some pretty awkward conversations happening at that table. And then I tied all the crooks up and saved the day.
I burn child molesters with a cattle brand.
In one of the post-credits scenes, Flash and Superman race, as they have done numerous times in the comic books. And this one isn't really an Easter egg, but it's a pretty cool callback. when Clark Kent opens up his shirt to reveal the S underneath, he's signaling to the audience that the classic Superman that we all know and love has returned. And in the final post-credits tag, Lex Luthor says maybe it's time we have a league of our own. This is, of course, a reference to the popular baseball film A League of Their Own, starring Gina Davis and Tom Hanks, and also to the Injustice League from the comic books. Well, that's all the Easter eggs that we found, but we know there has to be tons more, so let us know what we missed in the comments. Also, be sure to subscribe and keep a lookout for our other Justice League videos coming out soon. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.